And with that, as we now move forward, I would take the opportunity to invite on stage Mr. Shireesh Joshi, who's the Chief Business Officer at ONDC. Can we have a great round of applause, please? With 25 years of experience in India, 9 years in China, and 2 years in Southeast Asia, he has worked across geographies, cultures, and business scales. His diverse background spans FMCG, telecom, appliances, retail, properties, furniture, premium beauty care, pre-owned autos, and whatnot. He has also advised and run growth programs for brands spanning industries, including startups, as an independent and growth program manager. He's a seasoned executive with a passion for driving innovation and strong business acumen to generate growth in the digital commerce landscape. With that, I now request Sir to please come on stage.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, let me thank the Federation of Indian Publishers for inviting me and share thoughts on the open network for digital commerce with you. As any other sector, the world of publishers is very important to us as a potential utilizer of this infrastructure. And let me narrate the story. Some of you have read about it, some of you have heard things about it. I can explain in a short talk only a little bit, but I hope it gives you a sense of how much potential it holds even for all of you here. So ONDC is a toddler, it's barely 4 years old, and let me take you through the journey of this 4-year-old. The journey began in 2020. When the first pandemic hit and the country was going into lockdown. And the concern for the Commerce Ministry was how do we ensure that when people can't physically enter shops, they are still able to access their necessities, their food, their medicine. 2021 was really the first practical year the protocol got created and the institution got created. 2022 was when we first put it into test in real life. 2023 was when we started to scale up. And now we're looking beyond 2024 and 25 to take it further. Just a sense of what scale we have achieved. So when we began opening it up last year in January, in the entire month, we did only about 1,000 orders. A year and a half later in June, we did 10 million orders. At that time, we had barely 600 sellers. Now we have 6 lakh sellers. At that time, we were only in 5 cities, but now 1,200 cities are experiencing orders. So the network has been accepted and grown rapidly. When we first created this, a lot of people had legitimate questions on will this form of commerce work, because this is very different, and I will explain in a minute why it's different, why this form of commerce can even work. They had questions, but now 10 million orders in a month or 80 million orders since we've started are enough proof that this works. Let me, before I talk about ONDC further, also narrate a couple of journeys that we have all experienced, because everybody wants to know what ONDC will do next. Everybody wants to know what's ONDC's priorities. Everybody wants to know what ONDC's plan is. Let me take you to 2 journeys that actually have not had a plan. The first journey is that of the internet. And for those of you who followed it, this will be familiar, but let me give you a brief snapshot of 40 years of internet. For an entire decade, internet was only TCP/IP protocol. Nobody could understand it, only engineers. So for more than 10 years, it was just an engineering tool. By the end of 80s, almost 20 years into its existence, the first browsers and search engines came. That's how people like you and me could actually use the internet. That was the first introduction. After that came free email. I think all of us remember when Hotmail came in, it was a big thing. You can do email for free. We can contact people in other cities, in other countries for free. Then came banking services, ticketing services. So we didn't have to go somewhere to get our work done. We could do it sitting at home. Then technology improved, speed improved, pictures and videos came, and we could do entertainment on the internet. With that, social media came and we started interacting with friends and family on the internet. And then technology improved further. Internet moved from laptops and computers to mobile phone devices. So a lot more people got involved. With time, telecom companies figured this was an opportunity. They dropped rates for data, and now internet is everywhere. So now, if you go back 40 years and ask internet, please tell me what is your plan to be everywhere? Nobody would have been able to give it to you. Yet it is everywhere. Let's take another example. Cameras on mobile phones. When the first camera came, it was actually a poor camera. Right? There were digital cameras, very compact digital cameras. The mobile phone camera could only do a 640 by 480 pixel, only in daylight. And if you sent it, somebody would have to have an MMS service to be able to see it. Otherwise, you couldn't see it. There was no internet on phones back then. Now 25 years later, pixels have gone to megapixels, camera has gone from behind the phone to in front of the phone. Now we have internet, so we can do video conferencing on the phone. When the first camera came, nobody even imagined something like this could be possible. And this has not been done by one party. So my phone is of one brand, but the camera on my phone is a different brand, and that's also written there. Right? That's the journey that we have experienced. So if we were to kind of reflect back on these two journeys and say what is the lesson or what should we conclude? First from these two journeys is that the future state is remarkably and impossibly and unimaginably complex and sophisticated than what we see today. You cannot picture it. None of us can. Right? It's not fault of our imagination because a lot gets contributed and it takes a shape that we can't even think of. Second, no one company, no one party, no one idea, no one technology does it all. A lot of people participate, a lot of people contribute, and collectively this gets built and we made the force it is today. And over time, they're everywhere. That's what these two journeys tells us. So when you think about ONDC, think about in a similar fashion. It has a presence today, it has done something in a year and a half, it has made remarkable progress. But trust me, forget 25, 30 years. In 5 years' time, it will be unimaginably sophisticated and useful in ways that we can't even think of today. Let me talk about one other idea. ONDC is what we call open network. All other commerce in the world, every single one, without exception in India or anywhere in the world, is a closed network. Let me explain what that means. A closed network requires all components of that business to be in that network. So when we think about an e-commerce marketplace, the buyer is registered in there, sellers are registered in there, all the software, protocol, everything is in there, everything is contained inside that. So a transaction can only take place inside that world. In the old days, if I were to give a telecom example, this would be like a intercom system. So in the intercom system, you could only call another extension in the same office. That was it. There was no connection everywhere. A big office would have many intercoms. A small office would have a few intercoms. That's a closed network. It can only grow as much as the resources of that one organization can allow it. Open network, on the other hand, does not have fixed boundaries, and it keeps growing and it keeps growing and keeps growing. Internet is a great example. Our telephone networks are another example. Banking is another example. So in an open network, when there is an interaction between two parties, both the parties do not have to be in the same application or in the same operator. Now it's hard for us to imagine what commerce will look like if we open commerce. But it's a lot easier if we take the open networks we experience today and see what happens if they were like e-commerce. So let's start with the internet. If internet was like e-commerce, then every website you build would be valid only for a particular browser. So then you will build one website for Chrome, one website for Safari, one website for Firefox, one website for Edge. And if you build one for Safari, it can't be seen in Chrome. Or if you build it for Chrome, it can't be seen in Safari. That's what internet would look like if it was to operate like e-commerce does today. Let's take the phone systems. Many of us meeting for the first time will exchange business cards and we have our phone numbers in there. It has only our phone numbers. It does not have a telecom operator name in there, because we don't need it. It's an open network. From any number, landline or mobile in the world, you can call any other landline mobile in the world. You do not need to know which operator. But if telecom were to be like e-commerce, then we would have to know the other party's telecom company. We would have to take a SIM card of that company and only then be able to call. That's what telecom would be like if it were like e-commerce. Doesn't feel good, right? It'll be annoying and in fact incredibly uncomfortable and difficult. Let's take banking. Banking has been interoperable, right? You could, in the old days, you could write a check from your bank account, give it to somebody, and they could deposit in their bank. Straightforward. Checks were interoperable. So both parties did not have a bank account in the same bank. If banking were to be like e-commerce, you would have to do that. So if you have to pay somebody, you have to open an account in their bank to be able to pay them. That's what banking would be like if it were like e-commerce. That is how e-commerce is today. A closed network that requires all parties to be in one. What happens when you require all parties to be in the same one? Everybody then wants to be in the same one, because who will keep track of all the various ones, right? And so because of that, e-commerce gravitates to a monopolistic structure. Around the world, you look at any commerce. So in India, let's look at it. If you order things for home, we basically readily think of two platforms. You have to think hard for a third one. Booking a taxi, again, two names will jump to mind. We'll struggle to think of a third one. You want to order food, again, two names will jump to mind. You'll struggle to think of a third one. So closed systems end up leading to a monopolistic structure, because everybody then just wants to be in the same one or two and no more, otherwise it would get too complicated. So now as you compare telecom, banking, or even the internet as experiences vis-a-vis the closed version on them, I hope you get a feeling that actually it's far better to be in open, because it opens you up and makes available a lot more freedom, flexibility and innovation. So how is it getting built? Who's building it? Right? ONDC is not building it. We are only an infrastructure. So different companies have played a role in building it. The first category that got built was food. So now you can place order on the network for food products. One company called Magic Pin stepped forward and said, we will connect restaurants and we will teach the buyer applications on how food should get ordered. And that's how food got built. Another company, Snapdeal, joined the network and said, we will make fashion successful, since they contributed their sellers and their buying experience to make fashion successful. Similarly, mobility. So many people know the success story of Namayatri in Bangalore. Right? They do auto rickshaws that are comparable to the two big platforms. And again, one company steps forward with a model, makes use of our protocol and drives it to success. Gift card, Paytm. Logistics, Ola. So each sector is getting built by some player. Right? ONDC is only the infrastructure. Each player is bringing the knowledge of that sector, some innovative practices, and leveraging the network to start building that. Now, it is not just the sectors as we know them. There are also things that companies are doing that they didn't do before. So many companies are now discovering additional revenue streams in addition to what they already do. Here are some examples. We have a vehicle maker, and a vehicle maker makes the money when the vehicle gets sold. They make, if you come to their official service center, they might make a little bit more on the spare parts, but essentially their money ends at the time the vehicle is sold. If you're selling for commercial use like taxis and vans and trucks, often even the service revenue won't come because they will go to the cheapest local mechanic and do it. So now this vehicle maker is saying that some of my vehicles are put to commercial use. What if I enable that commercial service on the network? So then not only am I earning money from the vehicle I'm selling, I'm also earning a commission of the service that I'm enabling. So new revenue stream discovered and now being worked on. We have a petroleum brand. Right? So we see petrol pumps all around us, and petrol pumps have, some of them have supermarkets. So the first easy idea was, let's connect our supermarkets to the network. Okay, that's straightforward. But they went on and said that, you know what, we have a loyalty program for trucks. Trucks come to our petrol pumps, and when they fill petrol, we give them some points. Of course, we can't discount the petrol, but we give them other benefits, like wheel alignment, etc., etc. We give them other benefits. So now we have a pool of several thousand trucks that are on a loyalty program. Can we enable logistics services? So if somebody wants to do delivery and needs a truck, can we enable discovery of that truck? And they can. So now a petroleum company is now becoming part of logistics. A logistics seller is becoming a seller aggregator, because logistics companies do deliveries. They know which sellers are shipping out. So they say, we'll bring those sellers onto the network and help the network grow. So now, instead of just doing delivery, they're also enabling seller services. So in this way, you'll realize that the one is option for growth, option for large access, as well as option for new innovation. An airline company, and we've seen this, right? Especially those of us who've traveled internationally. International airlines, after they clear the food, what do? They roll out a cart selling you perfumes and toys and charges and a whole bunch of stuff. Nothing to do with flying, right? But it's additional revenue for them. But that's limited, because at that point in time, how many people will buy? But they have a large pool of travelers. So one airline is now looking at using the ONDC network to enable that large pool of travelers to buy things from the network. And it doesn't have to be on flight only. It can be now anytime. So like this, companies are discovering ways to grow beyond what they would have done otherwise. There are also opportunities for building experiences like never before. And this is also begun happening. So imagine a map, not just a place where you figure out how long it takes and what are the methods to travel. What if you could actually place your ticket order right there from the map? Or what if you could buy products right from the map? So not just find what shops are nearby, but actually place the order. Right? Maps will, for example, tell you what restaurants are nearby. But what if you could then, from there itself, looking at the rating, place the order and the food gets delivered? So the boundaries that existed between systems, where you do one activity here and then the second activity there and third activity there, now are going to disappear, because there is a way by which all of them can be connected seamlessly. We all know about content. In fact, publishers, especially online publishers, know the benefit of content. And content has long been used for channel towards commerce. So when the content is related to a particular category of products or type of products, then from there you get handed over to an e-commerce platform from where the person can purchase that product. But that's a handover, right? You're only simply a lead generator. What if as a publisher you weren't just a lead generator, you were actually the commerce interface, where right through your publication, whether digital or physical, it were possible, and by physical too, it's not just digital, be able to do a transaction. Publishing has not been new to experiences. I remember 25 years ago reading a book called The Code Book. And what this book had very interestingly was it traced the journey of secret codes through the years, from centuries ago to World War I, World War II, and modern computer-based times. And for each type of code, they had a website where a sample code puzzle was put. So you read the book and then you go online and you try and solve the puzzle yourself based on what you've learned. So the idea of linking published material to experience is not new. It's been there at least for 25 years. Now imagine 25 years later, and Madam Swaraj also spoke about it, now we have AI. So rather than AI as an adversary, can AI be a tool by which publishers can create experiences that we could not imagine before and have one more way of earning revenue from the published work that they have done? So in short, what I want to say is ONDC is not a ready finished product. It's really up to your imagination, and this statement is really true. You can do invention literally at the speed of imagination. You think of it, you will be able to connect the parts because you don't have to build everything from scratch. Simply connect the part and you have your innovative solution available. And like the examples of the internet or camera phones, or more recently a closer equivalent UPI, we expect this to be at population scale, which is really our goal. So here's a short video that explains the idea of population scale inclusion. Just play that.
भारत खुलेगा।
अब तो पूरे शहर में डिलीवरी कर रहे हो।
ONDC के साथ छोटे से मोहल्ले में शहर का सबसे बड़ा सुपर स्टोर खुलेगा।
ये रहा, रोको।
सड़क किनारे बनते दियों के लिए बड़े बड़े बंगलों का दरवाजा खुलेगा।
ये भी बहुत अच्छा।
अलीगढ़ का ताला पंजिम, पटियाला, चेन्नई के हाथों से खुलेगा। मांझी सा के अचार की तारीफ में पूरे देश का मुंह खुलेगा। मिश्रा जी की टैक्सी का दरवाजा सनी, बनी, हनी, टोनी के साथ साथ टूरिस्ट, हनीमूनर्स, सीईओज सब के लिए खुलेगा। खुशियां खुलेंगी, तरक्की खुलेगी, आशाएं खुलेंगी। जब ONDC नेटवर्क पर हर तरह के बिजनेस के लिए भारत खुलेगा तो करोड़ों कस्टमर्स और दुकानदारों के लिए बेचने और खरीदने का नया तरीका खुलेगा। ONDC नेटवर्क पर अब हर बिजनेस के लिए भारत खुलेगा।
A few things that are in early stages. So all the examples and stories I told were B2C, but we're also present in B2B. We have businesses buying from other businesses. We have retailers buying from distributors. We have farmers buying inputs. We have companies buying their inputs. So business to business is also live. We do several tens of thousands of transactions every month on B2B. We are also cross-border. We've had a B2B transaction. A cafe in Singapore bought a tea consignment from a seller in India. The Singapore High Commission bought a pool of products from an artisan in Jaipur. So we've already had international orders starting, and that's also going to grow. So think about not just restricted to domestic market. Literally, if you can imagine it, it can be possible. I look forward to engaging with you, and I hope many of you reach out and we find ways to connect you with the network and grow your business further. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And sir, I request you to please return to the stage, and I will be requesting our dignitaries in the front to kindly felicitate Mr. Shireesh Joshi for his wonderful keynote speech. Thank you so much, sir, for enriching this conference with your such valuable insights. And definitely e-commerce has now absolutely revolutionized how books are sold and distributing, presenting challenges but at the same time the opportunities. Can we all give a great round of applause, please? And now I would be requesting Sri Sahil Gupta, who's the conference director and also the founder director of VNS Publishers, to extend the closing address for the first session. Can we have a great round of applause, please?
Honorable Chief Guest, Ms. Pansri Swaraj, Member of Parliament Lok Sabha, respected Shireesh Joshi ji, Chief Business Officer ONDC, dignitaries, eminent speakers, delegates, and friends from the industry. A very warm welcome to all of you. India's rich cultural heritage and diverse history testify that it has always been the world's knowledge hub, right from the days of Nalanda and writing on Tamrapatras to the earliest versions of newspapers and books across genres. Over the centuries, publishers have not only been the torchbearers for knowledge dissemination transcending boundaries of caste and religion, but also a driving force in shaping the socio-economic landscape of our nation. By promoting learning and nurturing generations through diverse books across subjects and genres, the industry has catered to the needs of millions of people, leaving an indelible mark on our society and economy. The 800 billion rupee Indian publishing industry, with over 24,000 publishers, employs nearly 1 million people today. It stands at the cusp of a digital revolution. The adoption of e-commerce platforms and learning technologies for better access to books and sharing knowledge over the last decade, especially during the COVID pandemic, further outlines the profound transformation the publishing sector has gone through. As we embrace the digital age of AI, machine learning, the world of OTT platforms and EdTech, the Federation of Indian Publishers seeks to lead the way once again through this conference today. The Indian Publishers Conference 2024, with the theme Unleashing the Digital Potential, aims to focus on strategies around digitizing content, leveraging AI and technology, understanding e-commerce, and adopting innovative business models. With the proliferation of ebooks, creative content delivery platforms, and integration of AI, the relevance of metadata, copyright, and IPR protection in the publishing ecosystem, although needs to be further reinstated. The panel discussions today shall explore the limitless realm of infinite possibilities for monetizing content in the digital arena through its diverse panel discussions, visionary speakers, and an assembly of experienced professionals. Let us redefine the future of publishing by tapping into this digital potential, by transforming knowledge into actionable data and revenue strategies as we navigate this transforming landscape of the Indian publishing ecosystem. In the end, I would like to thank Shireesh Joshi ji for giving us his valuable insights about open network digital commerce. I would also like to thank Shri Naveen Gupta ji, President FIP, for his wonderful address and making us aware of various initiatives which Federation has taken over the last so many years and would continue to do so in coming times. A special mention must be made for Shri Pranav Gupta ji, the way he threw light on the issues that we as publishers face on a day-to-day basis and the kind of solutions that he has proposed. And I'm very hopeful that in coming times, with the help of people like respectable Ms. Bansri Suraj ji and other dignitaries, we'll be able to solve these issues going forward. So, friends, without any further delay, I will not hold you anymore. Let us delve into the world of digital publishing. Thank you.